cameras are already at the back, please.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Good. Right, Paddy, over to you, mate.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. Thanks for your time, as always. Squad-wise, looking for Sunday, no, it's Saturday there, but for Sunday, coming out of the Preston game, any of those guys, any issues at all on duty at Preston?
No, not really. It's the same, and hopefully some of the guys that have been out for a while now will start nice and easy to be back with the team again. I think we can expect to have Fastnack back maybe start of next week. Lungi obviously has been with us for the group now a couple of weeks, so it looks a little bit more bright.
Within that kind of context, then where are we with Nacho and Gunny at the present moment?
Gunny is about. There's an injury here, and he have had 2 injections now, and it's also about pain where it's for him to get started when he doesn't feel pain anymore, and at the moment he cannot do his reactions well enough without pain. So that's of course an issue for him and for us. We hope it can settle, quick, but it is all. I think it will be realistic for us to talk about a couple of weeks still.
From this point?
Yeah, from this point here. The same with Nacho, even though, like I said the other day, it was not that severe as we actually thought it was to begin with. But still, like I also said the other day, we have to do it the conservative way now, where we make sure that he's fully fit when he gets back with us. So it can also be from this point today a couple of weeks, and maybe it will be let's see if we can get him ready before the national break. But it can also be that it will be after that.
Yeah, which will give you another 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's not obviously clearly not ideal, 2 very key players for you, but you've already seen it in these 2 games. Whether it's the midfielders, whether it's George. It's that thing where players are now to step up and prove that they should be in the conversation as well.
Yeah, it is, and it's a matter of that, and it's a matter of for us as coaches to find the right positions and the right movements, so we make sure that the players that we put on that they can really be as comfortable as possible. But I think we have a good squad, and I think we have a good competition for a lot of the positions. So we can expect and can also expect in the future that there will be injuries, there will be suspensions, and we cannot play with the same 11 all the games. So that's how it is, and also a big part of why it's so important that we keep on developing these young guys so they can take the step, but also of course we have to get used to the experienced players, because they have a big role for the team as well. So it's a fine balance, but we have to expect that there will be players off.
And in terms of Sunday's game, 3rd game, 2 gruelling away games. I mean, you only made the 1 change. I think you're starting on for Preston. Marcondes came in.
Yeah.
But have you got to be mindful? Do you feel going into this game in terms of your 11 selection-wise, just as a reflection of the week you've had?
Yeah, we have to, and we of course obviously looking at the physical numbers. Some players are actually better when they can just continue playing, because that's what their body is used to, and some we have to be not protective but just a little bit careful. So obviously we find out and we will see tomorrow, but I don't expect too many changes, but maybe 1 or 2 changes. This is also the game where, in terms of days as a lead into the game, is actually maybe the best one for us out of these 3 games, where the first one in Stoke, we only had 1 day of preparation, then on to the next one Tuesday night in Preston. But here up to the Middlesbrough game, we've actually had a couple of days. So hopefully this will be, in terms of preparation, the best one for us.
Just wanted to ask you how close maybe is Kay Gordon now to coming into your thoughts for the 11. I mean, you turned to him as part of those changes you made at half time, and every time he's been on the pitch, it feels like he's potentially can make something happen. So is he really pushing now?
Yeah, he is, and I think what he did well is that we made him play for the 21s against Sparta Prague at home, to give him some minutes and also to find his rhythm in the game. And I think what he did well was to come on and also score that goal, and also now to get started, to have some minutes and actually to be able to compete for that position, which is important, so we don't have too many positions out there where they feel too safe. That's also a part of the environment that we want to create, that you have to perform in training and you have to be as good as possible in training, and if you are, then you will also get the chance. And I think he's been doing well, and can also give us some other moments out there, because he can dribble and he's a great finisher, and he's very good at taking on his direct opponents. So also to have that option from the bench is good for us.
It's the first time in this setting that we've able to speak to you about confirm now Jack Wilshere, first team coach. Two things really, why was he the candidate that you and Ben settled on, and how's it been the initial? I know he's only been in the building maybe a day or two, but what's the initial feeling?
I think first of all, when you recruit, you sit down together and then you make a list of what it is actually we need, what is it we want, and then from there on, when that is crystal clear, we start working out, okay, who's the actual candidates when we look at this list, and he was one of the first for us to mention, because with what we're trying to build here, of course, with the young players, but also to have a certain vision of how the game should be played and so on. He fits very well into the club and the environment here. So he was one of the candidates more or less from day one, and a lot of meetings to be had. First Ben and Neil, and then after that Glenn and I. And then we took the decision after some weeks, and also some days of thinking, and maybe also for him some days of thinking. But we are happy to have him in the building, because he will add that quality. He's of course a coach where he's been around some of the best coaches, but also starting on his own, trying to build something. I think it's very good to have coaches that have tried to be a coach for a youth team, because then you actually have to do a lot yourself. You have to plan everything, you have to prepare everything, you have to execute it. So it's a good experience to have. And now I think he's more than ready to take the next step. So we are really happy to have him.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, because maybe with his playing career, there might have been people in his situation felt, I'm going to go in at first team coach level, but he almost wanted to go and do his apprenticeship, didn't he? And that maybe speaks volumes about the type of person he is. Yeah,
definitely. And I think some of the better coaches you see out there at the moment are the ones where they have actually taken I don't know if it's the right word to call it a slow start, but a start where they started, to getting to know about the basics. How do you prepare a session? How do you execute it? How do you give feedback to players? How do you manage to have a team and coaches around, where it's not top level and you have to deal with all the other stuff around being a senior head coach, and that will give you experience and make you ready to take the next step. And I think if you plan that well, I think you are very good prepared for when you then have to take that step up to the senior level. And he's there now. And then of course it's not bad for us that he can bring in all his experience also from playing. Because sometimes he can give a different view on the same topic, or maybe approach a play in a different way, which is needed for us and good for us. So just based on the first couple of days here, he's a very good fit for us.
Yeah, I do want to ask you about that, because I'm sure he himself would just want to be judged now as a coach, not what he did as a player. But yeah, for your midfielders, particularly young or old, if you're able to tap into that type of knowledge, a guy who's played at the highest level, it's invaluable. Yeah,
definitely. If you can get it out there to the others, if you can teach others with the knowledge that you have, it's difficult for some. But I think it's because of that career planning that he have made, and because of that experience he already now got from youth level. He's used to that. He's used to delivering the message. He's used to telling his ideas to players. So that's sometimes the most difficult part about it. But he's there, and of course with a lot of experience from highest level, can really support our midfielders, but also other positions. So I think it's important for us to have that knowledge also in the building. I don't think it's something we just always in every situation need to have. But I think if you find the right candidate, it's a good asset.
I think it was Wednesday you confirmed that, and then later in the evening we had the share process. I asked you, I think, on a previous press conference about just how it's working with Mark, but obviously big moment in terms of Astelia and Michael now standing down from the board. I just wanted to get your reflections on them, their legacy, and your personal experience, maybe these 5 months you were in the building.
Yeah, I've obviously known them for 4 or 5 months, and I just feel it. So I don't have all the. I've obviously not been here for so many years, so I don't know everything about it, but I can feel it, and just the warm welcome they gave Glenn and I, but also both Glenn and I's families and so on, was fantastic from day one. We had a great night with a great dinner. I think it was in June or beginning of July, where we were more or less introduced to everything, but also just a warm welcome in terms of of having that gathering one of the first nights here. So we have felt it from day one, and I still get a message once in a while from Delia when she thinks that the performance was good. I spoke to Michael the other day when he was in. So they'll of course have they have the desire and the passion for this football club, and loves everything that's happening at the moment, and really want to be informed as well, and really want to be around, which I think it's fantastic. You don't see that kind of people in that many clubs. So we have to be happy that they're here. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and just final one. I mean, the longevity is very rare. You get that, particularly at the top end of the game as well. I mean, that testifies really that they were here for love and the feeling they had for the club. It wasn't some sort of financial sort of arrangement with them. They really do sort of feel it, don't they? The DNA of the club. Yeah,
and it's so yeah. Sometimes it is. Here we're talking about feelings because it is what it is. We can talk the financial things and so on, but I think it comes down to what kind of feeling do these people actually give you. And like I said, from day one when we came in here, it was impressive actually, where how warm a welcome we got, and I can also speak behalf of my family, just where everyone, even my mom, has met Delia and said fantastic. They were invited in for dinner, one of our first home games of the season. So just to create that feeling, it also gives me that extra motivation to really work hard for a football club when that's the passion and love they give to us.
Just a brief note on Preston. You debriefed it, and was it as you felt on the night in terms of how that game panned out?
Yeah, I think we have to be better. I think it was not a good enough performance from us. I think. Obviously, of course, not a good start, and maybe a little bit shaky after that. But I think the response from minute 20 was okay, and I think it was good for the team and good for the group and for the club that we got a point out of that. And I think the mentality shown that we really tried to keep on pushing, and we tried to create chances, and we tried to score the goals, and we tried to go for the win is great to see, obviously. But from a performance perspective, we have higher ambitions than that, and we have to make sure that we can be better going away from home.
When you're sitting down with the players, or whether it's your coaches and the individual players or groups of players, as you've spoken about in the past, I mean, do you, with a game like that, do you focus on maybe the first 12 minutes and what you didn't do well, or do you have to accentuate, the reaction thereafter shows a lot about what we're all about? Is it difficult to get the balance with a game like that?
I hope not. You have to ask the players if they think the balance was right. I think after a game like that, it's the culture we try to build here, where we can be open and honest and critical, because no one in the room was satisfied with that performance. We were satisfied with the response, and we got a point, and we showed great mentality in some really decisive moments, but performance-wise, we were not satisfied. And that was also the feeling I got from the players after the game, and also the feeling when we made in a couple of days after. They were also not satisfied with the performance. And then it is important for us that we can look at it with critical eyes, and we can go into detail and say, okay, the start was not good enough. But also some moments after we scored that second goal was not good enough, where we opened up the game too much again, and there was possibilities for us in the game, but we really didn't take care of it, and we were not playing with enough quality, both individually and collectively, and that we simply need to look at. And I think as a football team and as a coach, it's something that happens. It will also happen more times this season. Definitely, we just have to make sure that we take everything from a learning perspective out of it, so we can clarify for everyone, okay, what went wrong here, and what is it exactly we have to do better.
Thoughts on Borough, and you said that challenge Sunday?
A completely different challenge, because it's where Preston was more man marking, or actually completely man marking all over, especially in midfield. This is another type of team where they're more defending spaces, they're more covering spaces as a unit, see if they can force us to pass into certain areas where they can intercept the ball from us. So we have to be good in our positional game. We have to be strong in our positions. We have to anticipate the game well. We have to create some certain patterns offensively that we can rely on, and we know that we can do no matter what they are doing. So that's the first task for us, and to get control in the game, to take the ball, because it is obviously also a team Middlesbrough where they like to be on the ball as well. So that will be the first will be the first battle in the game. Who will take care of the ball? So that will give us some signs already after 5-10 minutes. But a completely different one compared to the other two we just have had. So I'm glad we have had a couple of days to prepare.
I mean, they had a very good win midweek, Sheffield United. But I think Glenn said after the fans forum the other day, if you look at a lot of the underlying metrics, they're really up there with any team in the division.
Yeah.
Maybe they will feel they haven't quite, a bit like yourself, maybe got the points on the board, but there's no doubt this looks like a group of players and a head coach who will feel they will be in that conversation maybe come the end of the season.
Yeah, they have a very, very clear style of play, and you know, I think when we look at them, it seems like the players are comfortable in what they're doing, and they try to do it even though they're a little bit under pressure, or even though the scoreboard in the game is not perfect for them. They still try to do their stuff and their things, and that's impressive. And I think when they are good, they are very good. So we have to have respect for that. But I think, like all the other games we play, it's so much down to us, and it's so much up to how well we can start the game, how well we can find the rhythm in the game, and then of course also for us to be very, very front-footed in our pressing, so we make sure that the space is tight and we cover the space well for each other, and we don't allow them too much time on the ball. So there's a lot of things to prepare, and I think it's a good test for where we are now as a group. I think we can expect a good game on Sunday, because it is two good teams, and I think it's only Leeds in the league at the moment that have had more passes than us and Middlesbrough. So it is definitely, like I said, it will be a battle in the game who will take control.
Just final one from me, Carrow Road. I think that you're almost a year unbeaten. I think if you come through this game, it would be a year unbeaten. Spanning obviously different, coaching eras, but you spoke about the away fans midweek and how they really drove you on. This type of game, good opponent, grueling week, even more so the home fans in this type of game could help get you over the line on Sunday. Yeah,
definitely. Because we should expect and have to expect that this is going to be a tight one. Can maybe be decided 1 or 2 goals. So definitely there will be moments in the game, like all the others we have had so far in the season, where we have to defend, that we have to get all the support that we can, and then there will definitely also be moments where we are on top and we can get that extra boost from the stands, and sometimes more or less have the feeling that they are creating the goal together with us. So definitely we need it, and that will be important for us, and I think what's also important is that hopefully we can get on to another good performance at home and give the fans a good Sunday.
Just one from me, Johannes.
Yeah.
You mentioned the other night about play style and maybe how it could develop in the future. I'm just interested in sort of that process. Is that about watching other teams and sort of making sure you're following the trends? Is that your idea? How does that process sort of evolve your own play style? And has it evolved from when you started at Norwich?
Yeah. It has, it will. I think you can see it yourself if you just find a game on the highest level 5 years ago, and you can see the differences now, where there will always be changes, and you have to be aware of that. So in this game, to stay curious, to find teams where you can find inspiration, look at how they're doing things. And then of course to surround yourself by people that are also curious and that are also expert in some areas. Like I also said the other night when you were there, that it's important for me that we have a lot of what can we call it, big brains in the building. So there's a lot of information and experts, and we can have good conversations, because that's how we develop. We cannot just rely on what we did yesterday and hope that that will be good enough for Sunday. We have to always look out there. How can we improve? How can we be better? And that's both the fun part about being a coach, but also sometimes the little bit exhausting part, because it never ends.
Right, thanks Connor. Paddy, thank you. Can you jump up here? Quickly have the cameras off, please.